Why homeschool? This video is for parents who might be considering homeschool. I'll discuss some of the advantages. In subsequent videos in this series, I'll go over some of the options available to homeschool families, and I'll discuss in particular topics connected with teaching mathematics. Without doubt, one of the most important advantages in homeschool is that you get to decide. You get to choose what to study and how you study and the books you read, when you study, your schedule across the year. In this, you can prioritize what is most important for your family, and you can tailor your curriculum to your family goals. You can research and find the very best resources for your family, the books you enjoy and value most, the authors and subjects that inspire your students. This freedom is especially valuable today because there are so many great resources readily available, and there are so many emerging opportunities. You will save time. You will save time from the school routine and all of its ancillary commitments connected with the daily school routine and the academic calendar. You will save time from class time. You can probably accomplish the same daily work in a small fraction of the time that students would be in school. In fact, very likely in 1 hour of homeschool, you can achieve what your student might accomplish academically in an 8-hour school day. It's important to appreciate this. Undertaking homeschool does not have to mean you become a full-time classroom teacher. The reason this is possible is that classroom teaching is much more complex than teaching a student you know well one-on-one. Classroom teaching involves all kinds of extra constraints: managing a group, discipline, group logistics, administrative obligations, and so on. There are many other challenges in the school setting, as many teachers are apt to explain. There are a lot of things teachers have to do outside of focusing on teaching what is most effective for a particular student. Scheduling. You can tailor your annual academic calendar, not just your daily calendar, to suit your preferences. You have a lot more freedom planning your travel or other activities outside of what would be the classroom, and you can avoid peak travel times, for example. You and your children, your family, can save a lot of time from teaching at home. Homeschool can be great for kids. You can really focus your students on learning what matters, that is, what you are studying, rather than all of the extra stuff that might come up in a conventional school program. You can tailor your efforts to each student, from matters of logistics and timing and pacing to important choices like the best sequences of study or the books and resources best suited to the student. As parents, you know your students better than anyone, and you also are most interested in their success. Very likely, you can develop an effective program for your students. You can create a curriculum that avoids many of the stresses that are commonly part of a conventional school experience and are, for the most part, completely unnecessary. And your students will save a lot of time every day. For many students, the time they would save by avoiding the daily commute alone is substantial. Your children will also save on all of the extra filler time that is part of the daily school routine due to the logistics constraints that are just part of managing classes and school schedules. Socialization. In fact, today your children can have a much richer social life than they would in school. They can spend more time and learn to get along with kids of different ages and also adults in daily social and work interactions, whereas in a classroom, most of the time they would be with peers all the same age. And in a homeschool setting, they will relate to adults outside of the strictures of the teacher-student relationship, the relationship that dominates the school environment. As more and more families are moving to homeschool, there are lots of groups that meet for a broad range of activities and extracurricular events. So, far from being a reason against homeschool, a concern for socialization actually favors it. Homeschool can also be good for parents. This is often overlooked, but it is true. And the more invested you are in the teaching, the more benefit you will derive. First of all, you won't have to think in terms of so-called quality time quotas. You will have interesting and important discussions with your students all the time on all kinds of topics you appreciate. When parents approach homeschool with the right attitude, this can be a source of energy and an opportunity for continuous learning for parents and students. You could, for example, start up a project or a study you always wanted to try, and you could learn it together with your students. Parents can rediscover, with the energy of their children, interesting books and ideas and activities they enjoyed when they were younger. If you teach, you will learn. Any teacher will tell you that if you really want to learn something, you should teach it and think about teaching it. With patient work, homeschooling can be great for families. You will see it implicates more than school. It entails a shift in perspective where learning really becomes a part of every activity in daily life. Family becomes necessarily a team effort. Obviously, you will be spending more time together and you will be growing together, thinking about and working on projects that you enjoy. Homeschool entails a broader view of learning. We will delve more into this in a subsequent video, but homeschool gives you the opportunity to study what you enjoy. Students will learn from your enthusiasm as you learn something new. And everything you do can be an opportunity for your children to learn. As students grow up, they can become a part of your work life also. This is a unique opportunity to prepare them for the independence of adulthood. They or you together might start a business or help you run your business or build their own unique portfolio. In many ways, this is a time of novel opportunity. Technology is evolving very fast. Some of it is good, some of it is not. Families can adapt to changing circumstances and new opportunities faster than institutional bureaucracies. And families can decide how they want to navigate the new issues posed by technologies. And these decisions will depend case to case, family to family. Homeschool is really a misnomer. It doesn't have to happen at home. It happens everywhere, and it is much more than school. So far, I've mentioned some of the advantages of homeschool. There are also costs, of course, although I think that for the right family, the benefits far outweigh the costs. It does take time, and it does take effort, and there is an economic cost, the opportunity cost. As for the time, there is a good chance it does not take as much time as you think it will. As I mentioned earlier, you can probably achieve the same work academically in a small fraction of the time your students would be in school or in the school process, including their commuting time. Also, your students can take on more and more responsibility in home and work life. If you have a business they can help with, for example, or they can help the family in other ways, the whole perspective on family is different and potentially much more unifying. The homeschool project also should not be laborious or tedious. In fact, if you get bored, then that probably means you should change tack and find an approach that you enjoy. These are some ideas for those who might be considering homeschool. In the next video, I'll discuss some of the options available to homeschool families, in particular the discussion-based approach to teaching.